Hello there! Scotty or not, welcome back to this Spider-Man retrospective. I almost said Smallville. I got the air conditioner on. It got a little hot in here earlier, so air's on. I cool it down a little bit in here. So, yes, we finally reached what I've been wanting to talk about for the longest time, even before I started doing this retrospective. This was a candidate for a while for a retro rewind, and I'm glad I put it off. I can do it in this retrospective. The alien costume. It's a three-parter, which is why there's a bigger gap between me uploading the last one and this one. It's a big one. Introducing the classic Spider-Man villain Venom in part 3. There's a lot of build-up, and I think it works. There are some people who say that Spider-Man 3 should have been the alien costume stuff, and then Spider-Man 4 could be Venom. It could work. I think it works here, but it works here because they don't kill Venom. They set it up as they deal with it in a way that it could come back. It's possible it could come back. So it's not just, hey, one and done thing like they were doing in the movies at that point. I understand they killed off all those villains, but I don't know. So we start with there's a mission to Mars. Now, when they're in the cockpit, astronaut John Jameson, when they're not in the cockpit, when they're on Mars, they find this thing and they don't know what it is. But then when the news is reporting that they're coming back, they say they found a rare thing called Promethium X. And I'm like, but they didn't know what it was. They were confused why it was bleeding, but they know what it is. And what's more is that the Kingpin and Alistair Smythe know that they have it somehow, and have tasked a very super secret though person to come out and get it. Yes, because Alistair Smythe can calculate that it's going to crash on the George Washington Bridge because this black goop, if we know it's the Venom symbiote now, has attacked the people in the cockpit, but doesn't bond with any of them, right? Because we needed to bond with Spider-Man first, so it doesn't bond with Jameson or the other astronauts, but crashes on the George Washington Bridge. Spider-Man goes to save the day, but we got our first appearance of the Rhino. Yes, Rhino is here, and he is after the Prometheum X. Spider-Man fights him, but he gets his ass kicked, but then jumps through to save the astronauts, which he does, but then gets blasted off of the ship into the Hudson, where he thinks the black goop on him is just Hudson River pollution. Yes. And he thinks he's going to be heralded as the hero. Does he not know how Jameson works? Of course, due to the incoherent ramblings of his only partially conscious son, Jameson believes Spider-Man was responsible for stealing the Promethium X. Yeah. And when Spider-Man does go off on him, mentioning the Rhino suit, JJ dismisses it. And, well, seeing this as a, also, Eddie Brock has brought the pictures of Spider-Man to him that make it look like as if he stole the Promethium X, even though he's not carrying anything in the pictures, but still. And I like this better than the plot point in Spider-Man 3, because, the whole thing with Spider-Man 3 in that one is that JJ fires Brock because he lied to him. He forged a fake picture and lied that Spider-Man was a criminal. But that's what JJ constantly does, is keep putting lies in the paper about Spider-Man being a criminal. Here, they don't have to cross that line of him calling out Brock. Brock gets fired because he did lie, but not because he lied that Spider-Man did it, but because he withheld information about the Rhino. So it is sort of that, but he he fires him. It's sort of different, but yeah. But yeah. So after this day, I think, did you say he's ready to hang it up? Since they're coming after him, there's Jameson has a bounty. Yeah. Then that night he has a dream. The dream, which is from the comics, but they have not tried to duplicate in the movies at all, where you see different entities. One that's the same color as his spider suit, the other one that's black. So it's fighting for him, and the black goop gets him, and then he wakes up on the side of a building, looking round, confused how he got there. And somehow a helicopter is just right there to capture him. Look, it's Spider-Man! How? Where? I don't know. They think this is where episode 2 picks up. So, yeah. And I like how they don't go into his relationship. Well, not really. There's a little thing with Flash Thompson and Felicia Hardy. I do like, though, after he's escaped the police, he realizes that the suit can transform. He's like, I'm Peter Parker. Nah, this is not me. How about that guy from Aerosmith? And he's dressed like Joe Perry, and you hear the now how about something more classy? And it's a suit. That's where he runs in the Flash. And I like the line where he's like, oh, suddenly you got a backbone. And he goes, I got a lot more than a backbone. I love that line. It's, well, since the Rhino didn't work, he does send the Rhino after him. I think that's actually in this. He sends the Rhino after him here. And he almost kills the Rhino. And that's when he stops and he's trying to figure out what's going on. He goes to Dr. Connors, who inspects it. And I think it works here because we've established that Connors and Spider-Man are friends. And so same thing with Peter. Where in the movies, Connors doesn't like either of them. So it's sort of weird that he goes to Connors there. When the only connection really is that he's a teacher of Peter's. They don't have really a friendship in the movies. But here, it works better here, of course. I'm going to say a lot about this. It works better here than the movies. I'm just saying. No. Yeah. But this is not the end. Because the Kingpin, Spider-Man steals the Prometheum X from them after figuring out where it's from. Thanks to the Rhino telling him where it is. And he steals it, so Kingpin hires Shocker, who was voiced by Jim Cummings. He voices 3 different characters here. There's another guy, and there's the guy who wants to buy the Prometheum X, bringing it's highly explosive. And, this whole thing is Kingpin's fault because Alistair Smythe wants to study it. He's like, no, we have to sell it now. And even though they prove what it could do, they don't sell it right away. Like, oh, well, we'll think about it, just so Spider-Man can steal it and take it away. And then he finds out something interesting, but doesn't say anything. And then he fights Shocker. Shocker kidnaps John Jameson and JJ. Or he kidnaps John Jameson and puts out a ransom for JJ. For him and Spider-Man to work together. Because it's like, Spider-Man, I need your help. He has my son. And so they go to this, I don't know, so they got there's a church, I think it's like a cemetery with a church in it, and they fight. And this is where Christopher Daniel Barnes gets to, he gets to flex his voice muscles. You get that, Shocker! I'll drag you to the end of the earth! Like Spider-Man is really gone. He's far gone. He's become evil. This is fantastic. Just voice acting he does. He just mwah. And it's only here, when he almost kills Shocker, that he realizes something is wrong. So earlier, I forgot to mention, there's a fight in which some of the cops use these sonic rifles, which don't exist in real life, but okay. Maybe the military has them. I don't know. I don't know government secrets. Anyway, it emits a sonic frequency which messes with the symbiote. Knowing that, he flees to the bell tower and uses the bell sonic frequency to free himself from the symbiote, much like in the original. Now, at this point, Eddie Brock is at his last wits. He's lost his job, his what? His job, his car, or something. Like he lost his job, his health, his girlfriend, his apartment. Now he's being evicted, and I don't know if I think he just followed them. He's not praying for God to kill Spider-Man or Peter Parker, whichever one it was. But he's there, and he gets covered in the goop when he hears the thing going on. I think maybe he is there praying for something, but he's like, he just wants forgiveness. I don't know. Then Spider-Man runs off. Yeah. And at this point, Jameson has to take back the bounty because his son has admitted to the Rhino, which is why he fires Brock. So, yeah. Part 3. Venom is now born, and they are after Spider-Man. But because the symbiote bonded with Peter, it knows who he is, and it's threatening only him, but Mary Jane and Aunt May. Not Felicia, though, because she's sort of the same as Mary Jane, right? No. And what's worse is Spider-Man's spider sense, for some reason, cannot detect him. Now, it's never explained here, but I think either because it's an alien entity, or because it bonded with Peter, it knows how to block it from it. Yeah. But he's strong. He's super strong. Brock is not like Peter. He's not a good person. He's crooked. He's not as a good person as. Sometimes he's not. We find out later he's not a bad person per se, but he's not as innocent as Peter. That's all it affects you. So he's fully integrated it. Not as fully as someone else, but he's we are Venom. Yeah, just but unlike with Smythe, he's only going after Peter, not Jameson or anything. No. The Shocker and the Rhino are still there too, but they don't last long because Venom takes them out too. Spider-Man realizes he needs to figure out a way and remembers the sonic frequency. So, what he does is he kind of going through. I'm not, this. He does is the first thing is he really wants to get him angry, so he puts a bunch of newspaper things in his apartment about him being fired. About Brock being fired. Cause them to go after him, and they chase each other. Now, I call bullshit on this whole thing being part of the plan, because he chases them around, they're fighting, he throws them in places you couldn't have possibly been wanting to go that way. They end up on a train, right? They're fighting on a train, he knocks them off the train, and Brock steals a semi-truck to chase after him, goes over the overpass, jumps down, they fight. And they're fighting, and you see what they're going. So, backtrack a little bit. So, to honor John Jameson for something, I guess, they're gonna launch something into space and call it the John Jameson probe. It's a satellite, I think. They're calling it the John Jameson probe, and they're gonna launch that. So they get to the launch site. We'll talk about John Jameson in a minute. Sort of the post-review stuff. The train leads them almost exactly there. He's like, there, the launch site. I'm like, no. There's no way you could have planned that train was going to take you there. There's no way that when you started with that in his apartment, all this fighting just so happened to lead you there, and it was all a plan from the beginning. There's no way. But no, he's able to use the sonic frequency of the jets to free Brock from the symbiote, but the jet fire doesn't. No. He uses a web sack to put the symbiote inside, stick it to the side of the shuttle, and it launches into space. Now, how the symbiote's able to stay in the webs, because I think it would leak through, right? I don't remember if he said he had a special web fluid, maybe. I don't know. But launches into space. Into space. Going to space. Going to outer space. Going to outer space. And that's from Venom. So I can actually add it here. Oh, you going to outer space? You going to outer space? So you going to outer space? Yeah, that's how he says that. Yeah. Brock's left behind to go to jail. Directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Mr. Brock, you go to jail. Not sure why, but the next time we see him, he's in jail with psychiatric treatment. So I don't know. He didn't really commit a crime. He fought Spider-Man. That's about it. Didn't really commit crimes. Oh, I do like when he shows up. He's like, I'm Brock, man. Eddie Brock. I'm a friend of Peter's. And Peter shows up. He's like, oh. Maybe we'll visit Mary Jane next. Like, yeah. Now, about John Jameson. So, I think John Jameson gets the most characterization in the unofficial spin-off cartoon, Spider-Man Unlimited. There's a lot of characterization there of him there, but I don't think he gets his fair shake here or in the movie. Here, the characterization is he's an astronaut, something happens, something bad happens to him. Sure, it works for the story they're telling. In the movies, he's a cuck. He's a cuck. Yep, he gets cucked by Spider-Man and Mary Jane. Like, she's gonna get married to him, and she's like, nah, fuck it, and runs off. And like yeah, he doesn't get. And then, like, if they're gonna do Venom, and I know it's not in the comics, but it would make sense that in this version, maybe he becomes Venom. Or, here's a thought: instead of making Harry Osborn a cheap knockoff Goblin, how about you make him Venom? I know Sam Raimi didn't care for the Venom character, but that's why you could, when he's told he has to work Venom in, try to actually work it in instead of shoving it in there, right? He likes the Sandman, keep that stuff. But maybe that stuff, you add John Jameson, he was established in the second one, he's going up on this probe, it lands, and maybe there's the Prometheum X or some kind of element, and maybe he knows that there's something on Mars. Maybe Harry has had his scientists working out that there's something on Mars that could help him, but it's not there. Instead, he realizes that Spider-Man has it. Right? And after Spider-Man fights with the Sandman in this instance, maybe he hires the Sandman to steal it. I'll give you a lot of money. Steal it. What I'm looking for is not here. This is just a stupid stone. Make Harry the equivalent to the Kingpin in the movies, right? Make him the Kingpin, since you couldn't use Kingpin because it's over at Fox. So, yeah. Hires the Sandman to do it. Say, this will make you a lot of money. You could pay for your daughter's operation, whatever she needed there, or something. I don't know. She needed something. Yeah. Could work the Sandman into this. And have it be, you don't need an origin for every villain. He could already have the power. You don't need to explain it. Look at here. Shocker, Rhino. Don't really need an explanation there. They're just there. Right? Or maybe Harry gives him abilities. Maybe he's like, if you're going to do this, he fails, but he wants him to fight Spider-Man, so he helps him with technology to create him, to give him powers, sand powers, to fight Spider-Man. Maybe, especially this new stronger Spider-Man, and they fight, but Peter realizes he's going to kill someone, and that's back. Harry finds the symbiote and wants to be paired with it. to defeat Peter. There you go. But no, Raimi didn't want that. And I know people would have been mad that it's not Eddie Brock. But seeing as Eddie Brock had not been introduced in the story till then, him not being included in that movie would have made sense because he wasn't introduced before. Instead, he shows up in that movie only, never been established before. And look at the X-Men movies. Beast is in the third one, but at least they mention Hank McCoy a couple times during the first two movies, right? I'm just saying. They could have done better with Venom. I like what they did in the 2018 movie. Not so much in the sequel. Third one's fine. But yeah, I want a more faithful Venom story. But I don't think we need to. I know that he's part of Secret Wars. So sure, if they're going to do that, but Sony has sort of retconned that anyway, unless there were two pieces of symbiote that got out. I don't know. Anyway, obviously this was good. This is one of the best episodes of the series. I think it's maybe not on par, but I think if you took what are the best episodes of those 90s animated series, right? You got this, or Spider-Man. X-Men was definitely Days of Future Past, or even the Phoenix Saga. Those are up there. And for Batman, which is another one that was big, Two-Face. I mean, wasn't that Two-Face? Heart of Ice is another one that was nominated for an Emmy. But, yeah. So, I'm going to keep going, because I only got 2 more reviews to do, technically. There's another 2-parter. I'm taking a break. I'm eating lunch. I'm going to start my laundry, so... And I kind of don't want to have to pay attention to stuff while I'm getting going on that, so... But I promise you I'll get the other 2 reviews out today. Don't know if I'm going to season 2 today or not, but maybe. We'll see. So, what are your thoughts on this episode? Leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.